Shalom, shalom. Giving honor and praise to the Creator and the Maker of heaven and earth, the Most High Power. My name is Yeshaya Yisrael of the tribe of Dan, aka Kashub the Danite. I'm going to read a couple of things here and address a matter. Deuteronomy 28, verse 58. If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book. Now, as we were able to see, it distinctly says in this book. All right. So now let's go, if we will, to the book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 8. And it says this: This book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night. So now we already see before the children of Israel went into the land of Canaan. And then when they got into the land of Canaan, the pedigree that they were supposed to go by was the law. And there's only one law that was given unto the house of Israel. So we can gain, know, and understand what this is talking about. Now, the subject matter at hand is due to the fact that there are many who will sit there and refer to Old Testament based Israelites, quote unquote, all right, as half-bookers, non-messianic, and so forth and so on. Now, for the past couple of years, I personally, as a so-called non-messianic, have been hearing these terminologies thrown at us, used against us. And so when I've asked brothers and sisters, where did the term non-messianic come from? The answers could never be consistent, simply because the term messianic, as well by default as non-messianic, were made up. There is no scriptural reference for messianic or non-messianic. You understand? So I just wanted to point that out in that particular regard. Now, when you go, if you will, right here into Deuteronomy chapter 25, all right, so we can gain an understanding. It says, if there be a controversy between men, and they come unto judgment, that the judges may judge them, then thou shalt justify the righteous and condemn the wicked. And it shall be that if the wicked man be worthy to be beaten, that the judge shall cause him to lie down, and to be beaten before his face, according to his fault by a certain number. Then it says what? 40 stripes he may give him, and not exceed, lest if he should exceed and beat him above these with many stripes, then thy brother shall seem vile unto thee. So now in verse 2, this man that was worthy to be flogged is called wicked. And this same wicked man in verse 3 is still referred to as your brother. So I just wanted to point that out, because while the people are making up these terms that's not biblically orientated, such as messianic and non-messianic, you have many people who refer to themselves as messianic quickly to call somebody non-messianic, or to say that that person is not their brother or their sister. So I just want to let this be shown that even if a man is wicked, according to Deuteronomy chapter 25, verse 2 and 3, that person is still your brother. So sometimes we need to humble ourselves. All right. But when you making up arrogant titles such as I am messianic and you are non-messianic and so forth and so on, that right there just go to show you where your heart lies at the first place. All right. So I just wanted to point that out for edification purposes. Now, when we go, if you will, to Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 16, it says this: Thus saith the Most High, stand ye in the ways and see and ask for the old paths, where the good way is, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. So what's being stated is that even in the 6th century and 5th century BCE, all right, it was noted that the people, like the prophets of Israel, were telling the people to go and ask for the old paths. The old paths is the way of the Torah. The Torah, all right, is today referred to from Genesis to Deuteronomy. That's why when you go to Joshua 1 verse 8, as we read earlier, it distinctly says, all right, the words of this law, as well as in Deuteronomy 28, verse 58. So I just want that to be pointed out for edification purposes. Now, to my brothers and sisters who refer to so-called non-messianics as one of the silly terms, all right, as half-bookers, I want to sit there and ask this question right here, all right, so we can gain an understanding of what we're talking about. All right, this is the Holy Bible. All right, now you see where this is right here? This is the division between the Old and the New Testament. Let's go in. This is the beginning of the New Testament, right? And right here is where the entire New Testament is. Now, on the other side of this, right, is, as will be shown, how thick what is referred to as the Old Testament is. So if you're an Old Testament based brother or sister and you're an Israelite and anybody's calling you a half booker, you need to ask them, how is it that the half, quote unquote, of the Old Testament is greater in size than that of the New Testament? So I just wanted to ask that question. How can you call so-called non-messianics, which is a term you made up, refer to them as half-bookers when you can obviously see that within the Bible there's 66 books, and of the 66 books you have what? 39 that is in the so-called Old Testament and 27 in the so-called New Testament. So half of 66 is 33. So the fact that the so-called Old Testament has over 33 books, you cannot refer mathematically or righteously to a so-called non-messianic as a half-booker. So I just wanted to get that across, and shalom.